In May of last year, millions of Americans lost access to affordable internet due to the fact that the Affordable Connectivity Program lost funding. However, in today's report, I want to tell you about a new law taking effect in a major U.S. state that will give discounted internet to a large swath of its population, and I would argue that this new law may even be more effective than the Affordable Connectivity Program. Before I go into more finer detail, let me give you some of the major highlights of this new legislation. Starting tomorrow, Wednesday, January 15th, every internet service provider that gives service to over 20,000 people in the state of New York will be forced to provide plans to low-income households as low as $15 a month. For reference, the average internet bill for households in the United States is around $68. And some of you may be about to click off this video because you're like, man, this is going to get struck down by the Supreme Court. Not so fast, my friend. So even though the bill is only set to go into effect tomorrow, the bill was actually passed in 2021. However, as you can imagine, many internet service providers were not happy about this and threw this into the courts. Surprisingly, the Supreme Court decided not to pick up this case. So unless the internet service providers can find some new argument that wasn't already used in court to try to stop this new bill, the bill is going into effect, and the bill is going to stay in effect. Now, as I promised, let's get into some of the finer details of this legislation. I mentioned previously that those internet service providers that apply to the new bill are going to be forced to provide plans as low as $15 a month. Those $15 plans will require there's an internet speed of at least 25 megabits per second. Now, for reference, I actually used to help people sign up for the Affordable Connectivity Program as part of my job, so I have a pretty good grasp of what internet speeds are necessary. 25 megabits per second definitely is not what you would call premium internet. However, if you only have a couple of devices, it's more than enough for, say, kids to do their homework, for kids to stream videos, etc., etc. However, if you have a really big family, 25 can get spread thin really quickly. So that is also why this bill forces internet service providers to provide plans for 100 megabits per second at $20 a month. So here may be the most important question: who qualifies for this discounted internet? The income cap is set at 185% above the federal poverty level. And for reference, that's about $55,000 for a family of four. However, there are other ways to also qualify for the discounted internet plans. For example, if any of your children are a part of free and reduced lunch through the federal plan, if anyone in your household has Medicaid, or if anyone in your household has SNAP, or a few other programs through New York, such as the Senior Citizen Rent Increase Exemption. Now, some of you may also have heard, I also mentioned earlier that ISPs that have less than 20,000 customers will be exempt from this new law. And at first glance, that may sound like a bad thing. However, as someone who has worked in the rural broadband space, that's actually a good thing. The reason is that many of these rural communities may only have one internet service provider. And for an internet service provider that has less than 20,000 people they're providing service to, that big of a cut to their revenue could cause the entire internet service provider to go under. And if the internet service provider goes under, that means that certain individuals may not have access to internet. So while it's definitely frustrating that some residents in New York won't be able to get this discounted internet, it's unfortunately important to have this provision in the bill. Now, why would this bill be potentially even better than what we had at the federal level with the ACP? So why would this bill potentially be more efficient and effective than the ACP? First of all, it may actually be a bigger discount for some people than what ACP provided. The ACP would give a $30 discount to most households who qualified, with some really large households potentially having up to $75. This bill could potentially knock down prices by $45 to $60 for the majority of households who qualify. The other reason I love this bill so much is that it goes to the root of why the ACP failed. The ACP was passed during COVID, and at that point there was a lot of momentum for putting this kind of discount in the hands of Americans, but unfortunately, as we've moved out of COVID, a lot of these social programs have lapsed. The key thing with this new bill is that it doesn't require additional funding. It's simply a rule that ISPs have to follow. which means we don't have to worry about the potential of this not getting funded year after year. Instead, for this to go away, the New York legislature has to come back and actually strip this bill from being in use. And for any forces that are against these kind of social services, it is far easier to muddy the waters, to try to get legislators to drag their feet so that funding just lapses, versus having legislatures try to actually discontinue the law. Because if they discontinue the law, their names will be on a bill and then given to the media saying that they want to take a social program away from those people. It's an entirely different kind of pressure compared to when a bill just loses funding and you just throw up your hands and go, well, Congress is inefficient. Now, last thing I wanted to mention is that with this new law, you can actually improve the lives of those who are in New York. The reason is that for any ISP that violates this, they can be fined $1,000 per case. Now, here's the thing. If the population doesn't know this is happening, ISPs could violate this law and get away with it. So the more people who know about this and the more people who reach out to their officials about this, the more it's going to be harder for ISPs to take advantage of people. So if you know someone who may qualify for this discounted internet in New York, or if you do, please let those people or your family know about this. Hope this video brightened your day a little bit, and if you like news stories about community power and community improvements, then please like this video down below and make sure to subscribe and turn on that bell icon. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.